Good afternoon, everyone. Today I will present the findings of my research and how social science students perceive intercultural competencies, their importance, their application in education and professional life. This study was conducted among students at the J.J.Strossmayer University of Osijek and focuses on the role of intercultural competencies in higher education and future careers. In today's globalized world, people from different cultures interact more than ever before. This is especially visible in education, workplaces, and international cooperation. Because of this, intercultural competencies have become increasingly important. These competencies include the ability to communicate effectively with people from different cultural backgrounds, show empathy, understand multiple perspectives, and adapt to diverse environments. For future professionals in social sciences, these skills are especially important because many of them will work in multicultural, educational, or social environments. The main goal of this research was to examine how familiar students are with the concept of intercultural competencies and how important they consider these competencies for their future professional work. The study also explored whether students feel prepared to apply these competencies in practice and whether they believe universities should integrate intercultural content more strongly into study programs. The research is based on several important theoretical models of intercultural competence. Deerdorf's model emphasizes openness, curiosity, respect, and communication skill. Byram's model focuses on intercultural communication competence and cultural awareness. Bennett's developmental model explains how individuals move from ethnocentric perspectives toward intercultural understanding. The study also refers to the Council of Europe's reference framework of competencies for democratic culture, which highlights intercultural competencies as essential for democratic societies and higher education. This study used a quantitative research design. Data were collected throughout an online questionnaire distributed using Google Forms. The sample included 89 students from 4 faculties within the field of social sciences. Most participants came from the Faculty of Humanities and Social Sciences, followed by the Faculty of Education, Economics, and Law. The survey was conducted between May and July 2025. 5 research hypotheses guided the study. The first hypothesis assumed that students are familiar with intercultural competencies. The second expected students to perceive them as highly important. The third proposed that students would assess their own preparedness as moderate. The fourth and the fifth hypothesis focus on curriculum representation and the need for stronger integration of intercultural content into higher education. The results show potential support for the first hypothesis. About 39 of students stated that they were familiar with the concept of intercultural competencies, while approximately 30% were unfamiliar and another 30% were unsure. The average self-assessment of understanding intercultural communication was 3.4 out of 5, which indicates moderate understanding but also significant room for improvement. The second hypothesis was strongly confirmed. Most students believe intercultural competencies are highly important both in society and in their future careers. The most important characteristics identified by students were communication skills, tolerance, empathy, multiperspectivity, and cognitive flexibility. In addition, nearly 69% of respondents believe that intercultural competencies should be strengthened within higher education. Students generally assess their preparedness for multicultural work as moderate rather than high. This confirms the third hypothesis and reveals a gap between awareness and practical competence. Many students reported that they had limited opportunities to apply intercultural competencies during their studies. Those who had practical experience mostly mentioned Erasmus exchanges, conferences, international cooperation, and interaction with students from different cultures. The finding supports the fourth hypothesis. Only a small percentage of students believe that intercultural competencies are adequately represented in university curricula. More than half of respondents were unsure, while only one-third clearly believed that the representation is insufficient. This suggests that intercultural competencies are often addressed indirectly rather than systematically within higher education programs. The fifth hypothesis was strongly confirmed. Most students expressed a clear need for stronger integration of intercultural competencies into higher education. Students especially emphasized experiential learning methods such as workshops, seminars, Erasmus exchanges, and guest lectures by international experts. These findings show that students value practical learning opportunities and real intercultural experiences. Overall, the study demonstrates that students recognize the importance of intercultural competencies, but their development within higher education remains insufficient. There is a visible gap between theoretical awareness and practical application. The results indicate that universities should adopt a more systematic and strategic approach to intercultural education throughout practical activities, clearly define learning outcomes, and institutional support for internationalization. In conclusion, this study confirms that intercultural competencies are considered essential by social science students. However, students do not feel fully prepared to apply them in professional context. The findings highlight the need for stronger curricular integration, practical training, and international collaboration in higher education. Developing intercultural competencies is necessary for preparing students for increasingly diverse professional and social environments. Thank you for your attention and for your listening. I will now be happy to answer any of your questions.